This video covers review 5, pages 4 through 7. So problem 12 asks us to use the graph to the right to identify the following. So my x-intercept is going to be where it crosses the x-axis, which is about 1.5. So we'll put 1.5, comma 0. And then my 0 will be 1.5 as well. My y-intercept, it looks like this graph is crossing about 4 or negative 4. So this is 0, negative 4. And then for the slope, I'm going to look for some really nice points. So it looks like I have this nice point and then this nice point. So my slope goes up 1, 2, 3 to the right 1. If I'm not sure if I did that right, I'll do it again. 1, 2, 3 to the right 1. And yeah, that's a really nice point as well. So my slope is going to be 3. So my equation is y equals 3x minus 4. Problem 13, they're asking me to find the x and y intercept. So to find the x-intercept, I take the x part, set it equal to 20, divide both sides by 4, and find that x is 5. So that would be the point 5, 0. So I'll graph that on there. And then for the y-intercept, I'll take the y, set it equal to 20, solve. So y equals 4. And put that on there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to count from my blue point to the green point, so from one point to the other. I'm going to count to see what my slope is. So I go down 1, 2, 3, 4, over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my slope is going to be negative 4 over 5. So my equation is negative 4/5 x plus 4. Problem 14, I'm going to do something very similar. X-intercept is the x and my number. So x-intercept is at 3, 0. Y-intercept, take the y. Oops. And 18 divided by negative 3 is negative 6. So I'm going to go down 6 and plot a point. So for my slope from one point to the other, I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the right 3. So I go 6 over 3, which is the same thing as 2. So my slope is going to be 2x minus 6. On page 5, they've asked me to give the rate of change for each line. So this line makes a z for 0. Oops, can't spell. You could also put a 0. And then 16, this makes a u for undefined, which is the same thing as a 0 with a slash in it. So make sure you're very careful about how you're going to put 0 versus undefined. Problem 17, the rate of change for the following equation. Rate of change is the same thing as slope. Slope, when we have y by itself, is whatever number is related closely with x, so 5 would be my answer. 18 asks for the y-intercept. Y-intercept is the number that follows after the x, so my y-intercept as a point, because they did ask for y-intercept, would be 0, 6. 19, we again already have y by itself, so my slope is going to be negative 2, and my y-intercept is going to be 8, but this time because they put the b, we can just put 8. So unless it has b, you need to make sure you write it as a point. And then problem 20 asks which graph represents a line containing the point 5, 0 and has a slope of 2. So the first thing I'm going to do is check for this. If I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yep, that contains the point 5, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yep, that contains the point 5, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This does not contain the 0.50. And B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That also does not contain the 0.50. So now I'm looking at A or C of which one has a slope of 2. So from that point, if I go up 2 to the right 1, is my line there? Not really. Let me try it again. 1, 2, 1. Definitely not. Whereas on C, if I go 1, 2, 1, that is on my line. 1, 2, 1, that is on my line. So C would be my answer. A does not match the slope. B and D do not match the point. 21, the slope of the line shown from point to point. I go up 1, 2, 3, 4. To the right, 1, 2, 3. So my slope is 4/3. And my y-intercept, this crosses at -1. Problem 22 says Joseph opened a bank account with $1,000. After 2 years, he only had $450 remaining. Identify the rate of change in which he lost his money. So he opens the bank account at 0 years and has $1,000. After 2 years have passed, he has $450 remaining. So two things can happen. You can plug this into slope by hand, which is the y2 minus y1, or you can plug it into stat edit. When you plug it into stat edit, you will put 0 and 2 in L1 and L2, and 1,000 and 450 in L2. And then you'll click stat edit, and you get that your M or your A value is -275. In real world terms, it means he lost $275 per year. Problem 23 tells me a function is described by this equation. The replacement set for the domain is -4, -2, 1. What is the corresponding set for the range? So remember, domain covers your x values. So what I can do in y equals is put x squared plus 4 into y equals, just like we did in Unit 4. So I'm putting this into y equals. I'm going to click second graph to see the table. In the table, I'm looking for -4, -2, and +1. And I'm going to write down the y values. So when x is -4, my table tells me that is 20. -2, it says 8. And 1, it says 5. So my range is 20, 8, and 5. (24) gives me 4 points and asks me to find f of 3. 3 is an x value, so I go to where x is 3 and I write down the y. (25) gives me a table of a time in weeks and the height of a plant. Asks me to identify the rate of change and explain it in context to the problem. So I'm going to go to stat edit and I'm going to plug this in exactly like I see it. I'm going to click stat calc 4 and my rate of change is 2. So in relation to the problem, it means height of 2, however they measured that, for 1 week. So in 1 week it grows 2 whatever measurements they're using, because they didn't define it, is how you would say that. 26, they asked me to solve, so I take this negative and distribute it to both pieces. Put my like terms together, so I have x minus 7 equals 9. Add 7 to both sides, and x equals 16. Problem 27, I'm going to distribute this -7. And again, I'm not saying it, but I'm getting these steps from Don't Call Me After Midnight. I had parentheses to distribute. On the left side, I do have things I can combine. So 5 minus 7 is -2. Everything else stays the same. I box my variable, and I do have y's on both sides, so I need to move 1. I'm going to move the negative 10. I can add or subtract outside that box, so I'm going to move the negative 2 by making it a positive 2. And then I can divide everything by 3, so y equals